Hey everybody, welcome to Real Talk, episode 5. I'm here today with Kirkland Stickney. Maybe you guys haven't heard of him before. He's a young guy. He's an entrepreneur, a real entrepreneur. I know that word is thrown around a lot, but today I'm excited to sit down with him. Before we get going, if you don't mind, I'm going to give them a quick overview of who you are, what I know about you, and correct me if any of this is wrong as I go, okay?
Okay, perfect.
So I'm going to be on paper for a second here, then we're going to get off paper and make it more organic. So Kirkland is an entrepreneur with a capital E. I know the word is thrown around a lot, but he has really earned it. By 19, Kirkland has succeeded in launching his own lawn care company, Stickney Lawn Care and Home Landscape, from which he employs several people, did time in network marketing, from which I'm sure has taught him a lot about sales and self-development, and has even pitched and sold local businesses different sales optimization advertising strategies in his free time. Kirkland is also just about to begin the process of getting his life license, which gives him the ability to legally sell all types of insurance, life, health and dental, accident and sickness, critical illness, long-term care, the list goes on, and also segregated funds. More than being a serial entrepreneur, Kirkland is an extremely mature young man and has been a pleasure to talk to since day one. Being so committed to self-development and sales strategies of all types, Kirkland was a must-have on Real Talk. Okay, so thanks for coming, Kirkland.
Yeah, no worries.
Before we get going, maybe I'll open up with this. What would you say is the most important thing in your life right now?
So I started out my business at 15 for landscaping, and until about 17 I made tons of mistakes. And I think it's about 17 I met somebody named Travers, and I just kind of connected with him in a lot of ways and found out that he had a couple companies as well. And so just kind of working with him as a mentor. So as you talked about self-development, reading books, it's been awesome. Listening to Grant Cardone, Gary Vee, and then just working with a mentor. I guess you look at the analogy of like going through a minefield and just like he's already made it through alive, right? Okay. So I just don't want to follow a path to the hole in the ground. I want to follow him because he's made it out, right? So, right. And he's come out on top, and so just he's got the experience, and so I guess working with a mentor and just self.
Mm-hmm. So walk me through your typical day right now as it stands.
Currently,
You're a pretty busy guy.
Yeah, currently right now, I get up at about this morning was 3 just because I had to come to Cambridge, but typically it's about 4 a.m. and then I'm getting up, eating, going to the gym. And then I'm there to about a couple hours. And then I'm usually back home or straight to Elmira because it's like an hour each way on the bus. So right now, just because we're not doing any snow removal, like snow removal is obviously first priority as it comes up, but we're getting contracts and quotes signed and out for turf restoration and lawn mowing. So we're just busy all the time.
I don't know if I've ever told you this. I'm going to jump in here. First time I met you, I think you would probably be the most intimidating under 20-year-old I ever met.
Yeah.
I never told you that. And I think it's because you've been battle tested in sales. You have a resolve. You know what people are looking at when they look at you. That's pretty rare, right? So if you agree with that, how would you say that you got to that point?
Well, I think there's a lot of things in my life that I had to just kind of catch my priorities. Like, I think when I was, first starting out, when I was 15, I didn't know that I was going to be building a landscaping company for life. It wasn't actually till 2 seasons ago where I was really like, okay, this is going to be forever. I think we started to kind of phase shift into a couple other different areas rather than just mowing lawns and cleaning flower beds. I think that understanding, finding my goals as an entrepreneur, like what did I want in life, not just like what kind of business did I want to run, but just like what kind of life did I want to provide for my family, what kind of life did I want to live, and for my current and future family. And I think that I didn't have motivation to get off the couch in the morning or at any point in the day. I didn't like get out of bed, whatever. And so just understanding, and it's emotional, right? Finding something that literally like you tear up about, right? And it like kicks you off the couch or like rips you out of bed in the morning or away from the computer or video games or whatever. And so just making sure my calendar's full all the time. Like,
okay, to jump in there, I have a feeling that most people that you grew up with and most people your age, you have a hard time relating to.
Yep.
And I want to know how you've dealt with that and what kind of challenges that's brought to you.
Well, I think growing up, all the people my age were partying. They're going party, drinking. I was always invited, and I never connected with that. Obviously, I was, right from 15, I was, developing, something productive, and so I never did anything like that. And I didn't have that Friday night connection with those people, and but I think I got along with everyone, in the sense of like I was social. But I think everybody just had different plans for their life. And so I was moving in one direction, and it seemed like everybody else was moving in another direction.
Was that hard to accept that? Did it make you feel weird?
Yeah, well, it did. And like I said, until I found out why I was doing what I was doing, right? Like I was talking about those goals, those dreams, right? Once I found out what I wanted most out of life, and then realized that what their path was not going to get me that, or it didn't have as high as opportunity to get me that. It was a struggle to see them. It looks like they're having fun.
Yeah.
Right. It looks like.
Well, and you know what? They may very well be having fun.
Yeah.
I found it so interesting once to how Gary Vee mentioned he kind of wishes that he could find happiness 9 to 5. Because it would be so much easier that way.
Yeah.
Than what he's doing.
Well, yeah, your taxes are paid, or your taxes are taken off your paycheck. You got benefits. You don't have to worry about certain things. That you, as an entrepreneur, you have certain responsibilities. I have to make sure that my bills are paid. I have to make sure that my employees have a job, and that they're constant.
That's a whole other dimension, because most people are, that run a business are self-employed.
Yeah.
Nobody underneath them. You have a whole nother,
And that was just even developing of last year, too, because, I think the mentality of a self-employed person is, I started out, knocking on my neighbor's doors and saying, I can provide you with a service, and they just tell me what that service is, and then I did it, and then I fell in love with providing results by my own hands. So even that mentality shift from, I can produce good results, to I have a team that can produce good results, because I was always the best at what I did. So now, instead of being the guy, I have the team, right? So all my guys have way more experience than me. I've literally been...
Do you find it difficult, by the way, to employ people that are older than you, drastically older than you?
Difficult in depending. So I had a guy this past summer, he was really older than me, like he was in his 50s. 11 years of landscaping experience. I think the thing is when I talk to a customer, they see me as a child. And so I can say something, and then I have this guy on site with me, and I'm having a conversation, he just walks up and says the exact same thing. The customer automatically takes his word, because he's got like visually more experience in the fact that he's older, right? And I don't really find that threatening, as much as it's very helpful to have that, just because that's why you have somebody with experience on a team. It's because everybody has their different strengths. I think that it's just developing a level of understanding that I am your boss. Even though we Friday night, Wednesday night, we go home back to my place and we have a barbecue. I am your boss, but I don't want to be a boss that you fear, right? Because I am younger than you, right? So it's a mutual respect, like.
It doesn't work if it's out of fear. I've noticed that so much. I mean, I work with a lot of guys all the time. Yeah. And to have the dynamic that, sometimes things get really tough, and they may say, why don't I just go do something else? A lot of them will. Yeah. But the ones who stick around, that go to war with you, are ones that I found so far that I have incredible relationship with.
Yeah.
which is such an underrated aspect of business. And just, I think there's a misconception. People think that if you're people that are great in business are absolutely type A relationship, very dissociative, very, I would say, selfish. People would think that, but in reality, the people that I've experienced that are the most successful in business care about relationship, maybe even more than your average 9-to-5 person.
Yeah.
They've actually become experts at relationship because they realize they can't do it alone.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't a social guy. Like, even to sit here in front of a camera
Yeah.
or like even like sit at McDonald's the first time and talk to you the way I did, right? Because I was very much a talker, right? So people didn't like that, and I was a cocky know-it-all, and so just to develop the ability to, like I said, like as we were coming here, like develop the ability to ask questions, right? To learn about that person, right? I can't remember which book I was reading it, but they're saying like the single most important thing that person wants to hear is their name.
Oh yeah.
Right? The single
it might be How to Win Friends and Influence.
That's 100% it. Yeah. And so people want to have you talk about them, right? And like I was saying, you get to the point where you're sitting talking to somebody, whether it's 20 minutes or 4 hours, depending on how good you are with talking to people. You're asking them so many questions. They're just like, so what do you do? Like, right? Like, it just turns around.
It's a good sales move.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's super effective. I think I used to approach a sales meeting like, let me just say all the right things so that you're so irrefutably impressed by me that my recommendation you'll take.
Yeah.
And then I inverted it, which is way more successful, which is let me just listen to you until you run out of things to say.
Yeah.
And then you're guilted into asking me about what I do.
Yeah.
And then at that point, I bought myself about 3 minutes to pitch without interruption.
Yeah, because like you said, they literally run out of things to say.
Yeah.
I think even like landscaping, we're getting into more like, I have been doing door-to-door stuff lately just because, I have goals that are just bigger than waiting for people to call me. Yeah. So just getting up to the door and just like, I never learned.
I respect that, by the way, at the doors.
Yeah, I never learned sales. I never took a sales course, but I learned that people will respond to honesty. I learned that people if you tell people the truth, right? In my industry, there's a lot of companies. A lot of it isn't necessarily intentional scams, but there's a lot of ways that companies try to sell certain things that don't necessarily provide results, just because, and it's acceptable because every company is doing it. So when I come in and somebody says, why is every other company doing this? And I say, well, here's what I do, and here's the results that we provide. If you're not going to do this or this specific thing, it's honestly a waste of your money. And if I lose a customer, that I've gotten that customer to come back because they understand that I was actually had their best interest in mind, because they are literally wasting money.
I can't imagine how much you've evolved your lawn care company since you started.
Yeah.
I mean, I just can't even wrap my mind around it. But, what would you say if you were to go back and speak to yourself as you started off your business? What sort of things would you not do now that you did before?
Like, just in general, or just?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's strategic points, like how you broke your market resistance. Maybe it's through hiring. Maybe it's through advertising.
Well, I think, there's a couple things that are very key. The type of people I look for to work for me, right? It's always just like, as awful as this sounds, your family and friends are not always the best people to have employed under you. So instead of just looking for a guy who needs a job, right? I seek out, and it takes time, but it's well worth the time investment. Seek out people who have experience, who are, literally bulls. They're hard workers. Like, I go from guys complaining that they have to be, 4 days a week, 5 hours a day, and now I've got guys that are like, we're only working 16 hours today.
I have a tough question for you.
Yeah.
So, I understand entirely why you look for somebody with experience.
Yeah.
Just statistically, it makes sense. Now, how do you connect to the point that you were once without experience, and they would have been wrong about you if they didn't pick you because of your lack of experience or your age? How do you kind of bring that together?
Oh, from like a customer standpoint?
Well, in means of hiring. Like, you'll miss the next Kirkland Stickney if you hire by, the strategy that you continue to use, because you wouldn't be with experience at 17 years old. So you're going to miss yourself if there's another you using your own strategy.
Well, I think it's also just more, because I can train somebody if they're willing to learn, if they're coachable, right? So are they punctual? Are they willing to work as a team?
So you would bring somebody without experience.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Like, obviously you look for somebody with experience, and obviously we do things differently than other companies, so we do have to train. Like, there's always, in-house training, but if I think that more important than that person having that specific skill of how to mow a lawn with a specific type of equipment, it's more important that they have those transferable skills that they talk about in high school, right?
Name some of those transferable skills.
Are you punctual?
Okay.
Are you independent worker, but also can you work as a team, right? Because I can't constantly be breathing over your shoulder. If you have a question, can you sit here and go, okay, how do I figure out how to do this? I need independent people, right? But I also need you to be able to work as a team and not build conflict up, right? Those are two really important things. The punctuality, I need to make sure that if I'm relying, because I don't have a license, so I hire guys either with a truck or I plan to get them a truck. So if I'm relying on a team to run based on you being on time, you need to be on time, period. And that's because then I've got guys sitting around that I'm paying and they're not working, right? And so for everything to run smoothly, yeah, it just, like, off the top of my head, those are like two huge things. Because, obviously there's not a lot in the hiring process you can do to look at somebody's outside life. But, you can in a conversation when you're asking questions, you can kind of figure out, if something else comes up in their life, are they the type of person that's gonna, just kind of shy away from work because some other level of resistance came up in their life. Because I am in very much a seasonal industry where there are a lot of...
imagine that with lawn care and then summer plowing.
Yeah.
When it comes to the winter, I want to tell you something though. I think that from the outside, by the way, and this is a little bit off topic, but I think that from the outside, people will see you as a pretty straight shooter.
Yeah.
Okay. That they believe that what you say you mean, which is super important in business, as you know.
Oh,
right?
100%. Yeah.
Probably see you as a very hard worker. What do you think that people don't know about you based on the way that you present yourself, even today? Because people are going to be, hearing from you for the first time, many people in this video.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of your personality that's very hard to show. So, what don't they know about you?
Well, I think... That's a really good question.
Take some thought into it.
It's
important.
I really will. It's like that question in the job interview, what's your weakness, right?
Well, it could be the strength.
Yeah. I guess it possibly could.
In this case, it could be your strength.
Well, I think the biggest thing that your audience won't know about me is, and my audience does because they've been around me long enough, but I think it's just my ability to understand that no matter what happens in a situation, whether there's a conflict, whether there's a customer upset with me or my company or my employee or whatever there is I understand that person is a person. So I'm not going to come in with fire, right? Yelling or escalating a situation if there's a conflict or whatever. I always try to solution seek. That's number one. Like if I will literally like just stop because this is all garbage and let's just fix the solution. Like we can talk about all this stuff, but like we need to come up with a solution either today or tomorrow. So why don't we just do it today? I'm also a guy that likes to lead a team from the front, right?
You don't think people know that from you by hearing you?
I guess, yeah. But
it's tough to think of the things that people wouldn't expect from you, because sometimes I'm shocked when I hear about that stuff. People will say, Adam, you're this. I'm like, well, what about those ones? You're like, oh, you never act like that. I'm like, I guess I don't. I guess I don't. And it's super important, I think, to wrap your mind around that, because sometimes we look to, attract people to our business that are similar to us. Yeah. But you're not presenting that side of yourself, so how could they possibly be attracted to it?
I think the thing that's most challenging about this question is you spend all of your time around the things that you are trying to portray, right? You like you just said, like you spend all my time trying to build the qualities that I'm trying to portray, and so you don't necessarily focus on other things.
Yeah. Anyways, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave with that. So I
Yeah.
think we're right around that time where we gotta wrap it up.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll have you on again, you know, and hopefully by popular demand.
Yeah.
Anybody who hasn't checked out his stuff, you know, it's Stickney Lawn Care, right?
Yeah, so stickneylawn.ca is our website. We have a Facebook page. It's just at Stickney Lawn Care too.
Perfect. And I'm sure there's contact links and ways to get a hold of you there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So anyways, thanks for thanks for coming on the
Yeah,
show. Right?
no worries.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Stay in touch with me.
it's an honor, man.
Perfect.
Good.
All right.